Yo, 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 welcome to another episode of Across the Hobby, where this week we will be looking at all of the major auctions ending between December 2nd and December 8th. I'm your host, Adam Gray. You can reach me at The Real 27 Guy on Instagram. Thank you for all of the likes. Thank you for all the comments and all of the shares. I sincerely appreciate it. And if you do like what we're doing here, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Really appreciate that. All right, so this is the biggest week of auctions I think that we've hit so far. It is a massive, massive week of auctions. But before we get to them, Basketball Card Fanatic issue 51 just came out. In this issue, we are covering the most iconic 25 cards in the first 25 years of the century for the sport of basketball. Worked in collaboration with about 20 different big basketball collectors, and then we crowdsourced from them and averaged a ranked list of the most iconic 25 cards of the first 25 years of the century. I'd like to say you can go get it in print still, but it is already sold out. We only order a few extra issues every issue for people who want to just order a few at a time, and those sold out almost instantly this time. So if you want it, you can still order it in digital format. We'd love to have you do that. You can do that at bcfmag.com, but please subscribe, because if you subscribe, you'll just get every issue and then you will never miss one. So again, that's bcfmag.com. Okay, let's jump right into this. Lots of big auctions to hit. And like I said, it's the biggest one we've done so far. So just so you guys know, we will be hitting not just obviously MC Sports cards that you see here on the screen, but this week we have the Goldin Weekly auction, as always. We have the Heritage big December auction, Alts Weekly auction. We have Fanatics Collect's weekly auction. We have Goldin's Elite auction, and we have Card Hobby's normal auction happening. That is as big of a week as you're ever going to see. And the reason that this happens is that when you have a week like Thanksgiving week, they want to basically minimize the number of large auctions that are happening. And then especially because you get the end of December crunch, this week is always one of the biggest weeks of the year. So we're going to really fly this week through all the stuff that we have happening. And we're going to start, like I said, with MC Sports Cards. So MC Sports Cards this week is not their monthly auction. This is their weekly. So we're just going to go through each of the items that are ending at their weekly auction, and we're going to do it rather quickly because we just don't have a lot of time today. So Ken Griffey Jr., Topps Dynasty, really neat autograph patch here. Nice Wembanyama Mercury. We've seen a couple of those in pretty much every auction. This Giannis right here, the gold hollow out of Impeccable, is just a beautiful card. I believe this one, being the gold, has the hollow foil around it. This is hollow foil, not regular foil. And Giannis's autograph here looks great too. Just a great looking card. Gotta love the Kobe Bryant autograph. His one of two cards, I believe, from his rookie year. Just this in the press pass. And you gotta love the image of Kobe sticking his tongue out there, and the great long form autograph with the serial number on the side. Skip right past this Tim Duncan in a BGS 9, the titanium out of 250 out of the metal fusion. Second year Kobe Bryant refractor out of Topps Chrome. This isn't super high pop, but this is one of those that's far rarer in PSA 10 than BGS 9.5. Recommend you go look at the numbers on that. I don't have them in front of me, but that's something that I believe I'm correct about right off the top of my head. BGS 9 on the Jeter. Really nice looking Connor McDaniel out of the Premier collection. Ovechkin rookie SP Game Used exclusive auto out of 5. So this is a card. SP Game Used always makes these rookie exclusive rookie cards, and they did this in basketball back in this era too. But I never seen one out of 5. All of the rookie exclusives that I ever saw were out of 100. I believe the autograph's on a sticker. Look real carefully and research that. But mostly, it's one of the era rookie autographs that you see across multiple sports. And you've got to love, knowing where he was at this point. We knew he was going to be good, but we didn't know that he was likely going to become the all-time goal leader. And so that's why you see it. It's not cheap. It's close to $3,000 at this point. One of the few Tom Brady rookie autographs in existence. Here's another Brady numbered out of 1,000 in a PSA 8. I love this Jerry Rice right here. It's not the highest in the pop. There are some PSA 10s, but I do love the card. And we'll actually come back to that in a second. We'll just click on just a few more of these. Oh, look at that. Really nice looking Lemieux. We'll focus in on that one too. Focus on this Kobe right here. And I think that will just about do us for this month's MC Sports Cards. Scroll through and just do a few more, maybe. Man, they've got a lot of good stuff up this week. So we made it to the end of the first page, and we're still going. The MC Sports Cards weekly auction has continued to grow as people look for funding to move up into bigger cards. Oh, and my favorite card of the week. Got to hit that one. I had somebody this week message me and say, Adam, you got to use the control button rather than the right click. It's just a lot nicer. So I'm going to try to do that. The hard part is that depending on which auction you go to and what format you look at, it's sort of different. So under MC, if I click under the weekly auction itself, then I have to click on it directly. So anyway, this Jerry Rice, I love the Ultra Platinum medallions from this year. And I think I've talked about this before. I love it because unlike the PMGs, where football is so much more plentiful than basketball by 50%, actually, they're actually a little bit rarer in football. So there are, I think it's 100 in basketball. It's either 100 or 99. I think it's 100. But in football, they did 98 of them. And in football, they use these great in-action shots. Like that's just a great shot of Jerry Rice. It's not the highest pop. There are, I believe, 2 PSA 10s, but it's one of just a few PSA 9s in existence. One of the, I think, 68 PSA 9s of this card. You just don't see cards from 1960 that are PSA 9s. This one's in an older holder. You can see from the back here. This is just after they did the hologram version. So this was the next level of that. And you can see from the serial number, it's in the 20 millions, 2s. But to see a PSA 9 of this card is something you don't see very often. There's a little, some people call it a fish eye. It's right underneath the B in Boyer right here. But just a great looking example of an early mantle. How many people have a card from 1960 or before Mickey Mantle that is a PSA 9? Very rare. I wanted to look at this Mario Lemieux because the population on a lot of these types of cards has really exploded lately, and I just don't know if it has on the Lemieux. And that's going to determine how I feel about the card, really. So this is one of his most, this is the most iconic card in, for Mario Lemieux. Obviously for his career, it's his rookie card, and it's the one that everybody sort of knows. But the question, I guess, sorry, I'm thinking about multiple things at the same time. The question here is how rare it is in this state. So if we pull up the population report, you see that there's 9 7s and there's 14 that are graded higher. But what I'd like to know even more than that is how many of them are in the whole of the population. So we're going to click on PSA DNA and see, okay, so there's under 70 cards that of Mario Lemieux that have been autographed and then graded total. And a good percentage of them, about 40% of them, are just in authentic holders. So a 7 is a really pretty strong grade. You got 12 8s and 2 9s. And that's it as far as cards that are better. I really like that card, guys. I do. His autograph here looks really good. The thing that the population report never shows us, and it's really unfortunate that PSA hasn't been able to figure out a way to do this, but I'd like to see how the autographs have all done. Is this an uncommonly good autograph? I don't know well enough to be able to just know off the top of my head. But to me, it looks great. It is a great color. I think the black here with the black jersey looks good. It doesn't get lost. It's nice, bold, and strong. The Kobe here, the thing that I wanted to show you guys on this, so turn it over in the back, And you've got to love the two-sided refractor. Two-sided refractors historically have been highly problematic for the card companies to get right as far as aesthetics and not having issues. Another example is the Raise the Roofs that were made a few years after this one, but suffer with something somewhat similar, not to as a great of degree as the Thunder and Lightnings. You can see here as we're zoomed in that it's not just lightning on the background that's different against that dark back, but there's like this, it's almost like flecks off of the card. Now you'd say, well, that's a damaged card, right? You'd say that. But then you look at the grade, it's a PSA 8. Why was PSA willing to give it such a high grade, despite the fact that there's all this stuff going on here? Well, it turns out almost all of these cards have this. And so aesthetically incredible, trying something new and different that had not really been done at that point. But because of that, there are issues with the cards. And there are even PSA 10s that have that sort of thing. Moving on, I had to highlight this Kobe because while there's a lot of patch cards out there, there are not a lot of all-star jersey patches. I love the holofoil on these cards. I think they're highly underrated. I think if this said exquisite rather than SP Game Used, they would cost 5 times as much. And then lastly, my card of the day from the MC auction, at least, one of the very few, I think it's 14 total autographed, no name on front Franks in existence. I always say this whenever we see the Frank Thomas, it's really the card, the junk wax era. People define the junk wax era in different ways, but in 1990, there's no question 1990 is junk wax. You can ask anybody, and this year will fall into it. The reason that the Thomas is worth so much is because there was a problem with the printing where something basically got on the sheets that prevented the black ink from coming across on this area on several cards. And that has resulted in a very small number of no name on front Frank Thomases that were discovered sometime in the early 90s. Card has always been popular since then. And across all of the grading companies, according to GemRate, it's like around 450 that have ever been graded. And you can bet there's some crosses in there. So there's probably around 400 to 500 of them in existence. I would guess almost all of them have been graded at this point because it was, ever since it was discovered, it's always been worth a ton of money. But in an autograph form where somebody has taken the no name on front and then gone and had Frank sign it, they're in the teens. And so it is an incredible card. All right, let's now move on away from the MC Sports cards and to the Goldin Weekly Auction, which ends on Thursday. We are currently sorted from lowest lot number, but I want to do highest priced and see what we find as the biggest. We're going to take very little time, but the biggest 10 or 15 items ending this week. We're going to look at this quad auto here, which you can see by looking at the slab. This is a jumbo. And if you remember UD Portraits from 2005, one of Upper Deck's very few forays into larger sized cards, you can see that the card is an oversized card. It's an 8x10. Oh, a card that we will always look at whenever we see it. The Mantle Griffey Duel. Great looking Gehrig 34. Nice duel here. Very unique duel between MJ and Dominique Wilkins. The 1935 Gaudy with Ruth. DiMaggio 39 play ball. Some great stuff always in the Goldin Weekly Auction. Part of the reason that I do this show is because I want you guys to always say, oh, wow, okay, how much do we have going on this week? It's easy to miss stuff. It's easy to let stuff fall through the cracks. Now, we're not going to hit everything, so it's still highly possible that stuff's going to fall through the cracks. Gosh, that Brock Purdy's a really, really nice looking card. I want to look at that one. Okay, we've got enough open here. Let's go ahead and let's start here with this quad. So this is the highest priced item of the week so far. I remember when these came out. This, does it have a serial number on it? Sometimes you can't see super well to see if there's a serial number. I'm not sure that this one does. Oh, it's right down here. Right down here. And I can't make it big on my current view, I believe it's serial number out of 10, and I think you can see that from the outside of the auction too. Yeah, number 5 of 10. As far as the greatest players ever go, it doesn't get much better than that, guys. Now, of course, the autographs are on sticker. And you can imagine trying to get, multiple signatures on cards is tough, but to try to do it on a giant 8x10 would be next to impossible. So Upper Deck here opted for the signatures on the stickers, and there's no question that is something that harms the value of this. If this was an 8x10 that was signed all on the 8x10 by all 4 of these guys, and it came out of a pack, it could have been something that people really viewed as like an all-time piece. But because it's on the stickers, a lot of people don't like it. What I will say that is really neat about this one, though, is that those stickers are bigger than like this is not like the normal size card is like this, right? So that's actually a good-sized MJ, good-sized LeBron. They're good-sized autographs, and it's a really tremendous piece. They are all 4 autographs on that giant card. So it's cool. And this one has been graded in authentic. And you sort of always want to look, whenever you see an authentic grade, you want to take a close look around and see, okay, why might it have been graded in authentic? But cards that have been graded authentic often provide an opportunity for buyers to bump them and to get a higher grade, obviously a higher grade, and to have like a quick flip. I'm not suggesting that's what you ought to do here. It's not, and that's not a game that I play, but I know it's a game that a lot of people play. Corners here, you can see there's a little bit of white on both the top ones, not as sure on the bottom ones. The Griffey autograph looks exactly like you want it to. And remember, on this card, what you always want to look for is Mantle passed away not long after this was made. And there were 1,000, it was either 1,000 or 1,500, I can't remember off the top of my head, that were made with both, and then the same number that were made with just Mickey, and then the same number that were made with just Griffey. So a lot of people have taken the ones that were just Mickey and had Griffey sign them afterwards. Now, some people really care that the card and the way that it is how it came out of the pack. They don't want Griffey to have signed afterwards. They want Griffey to have signed before and then had it come out of the pack that way. Well, a lot of these Griffey autographs are much darker than this. When you see that, that's an indicator generally that the card didn't come out of the pack that way. This lighter Griffey autograph, it's not faded, but it's lighter. It's not as bold as you would often see. That's what you want to see on this card because it means that it came out of the pack that way. At least that's how that card came out of the pack. And this Brock Purdy in Flawless is just a beautiful card. Now, is it game used? Not as sure. Enclosed authentic memorabilia is not from any specific game or event. It does not mean it's not game used, though. Does it say game used on it? I don't know if it does. Take a close look. I'm not sure if it is. That's something that a lot of people will be turned off by there. It's really too bad because Flawless in basketball is always game used. I'm not so sure about this card. By the way, though, when this says, I want to be clear here. When it says is not from any specific game or event, a lot of times on the card, you'll still see that it says game used. And what that's indicating is they can't tell you what game it's from, but the patch is actually game used. I want to stop for a second, though. That's not the reason I clicked on this card. The reason I clicked on this card is this is a beautiful card. I love it when a patch window like this has has all of this hollow foil around it. The autograph here in the middle, reminiscent of what we've seen every year in Flawless, the dual patch autograph, the RC symbol in hollow foil. The whole thing is just gorgeous. All right. That's going to be it for Goldin this week. That's going to be it for the Goldin Weekly. We'll come back to other Goldin auctions here in just a second, but we need to spend a good amount of time this week on the Heritage auction because this is the major auction for Heritage for this month. And, Heritage does about 8 to 10 major auctions a year. And so whenever they're ending, we've got to make sure we spend some time on them. And so I'll probably spend as much time on this one as I did on the first two combined. This auction right here of the hockey case has been one of the most discussed. I want to give you my take on it here in a second. So I'm gonna click on that one. A mantle in a 7.5, a Shoeless Joe from 1915. Look at that, an estimate of 800,000. Wow, don't see many Cracker Jacks that are that high, that are estimated to sell for that much. Mantle autographed 52. Got to look at this stuff here, especially with that autograph. Got to look at it. PSA 9 on a Wilt is really a rare thing to see. Wow. PSA 8 on this Maze 51. BGS 10 black label on the LeBron. We've seen a few of the Rickies sell over the course of the last year. Might be a good moment for if that has ever been your dream. If that's your dream card, if you dream to own a Ricky Henderson PSA 10, let's click on that and talk about why. Might be as good a time as any for that one. 7.5 on the star is no slouch. That is a big, big card. Big, big card. Really nice Hulk PSA 9. This Jordan is autographed and graded at 6.5. The autograph looks pretty decent. Looks pretty good as far as like its color. That's what I'm referencing there. The LeBron Noble nameplates. We'll take a look at that one. LeBron from 03, autograph on that one looks really strong. 9.5 too. I want to see the cert number on that. I'm going to click on that one as well. So we're sorted by, I can't remember if I sorted by highest to lowest. It looks like I didn't because this goes, well, maybe I did 24, 22, 22, 20. Ooh, a Kobe 03. The autograph stays on card there. Let's look at that one. And we'll talk about the authentic grade on that card. 03 exquisite sealed box. Could be amazing. Could be incredible. Everybody's worried about the same thing on boxes like that right now. And that is, has the box been, has the box had something done to it? CT scanned is what I mean. People are all worried about that right now with unopened boxes. Love this LeBron right here. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Oh, a Tiger. Is that a buyback or is that an in-person? Looks like it's just an in-person. Still very cool. Good stuff here, guys. All righty. Man, I think I clicked the most items for this first page. That's why we're still going here. We're just going to go to the end of this first page. We've got to talk about these, though. Oh, this is the stanky. We must have made it past the Robin Roberts. Let me do a quick find for the Robin Roberts. Yep, it's 26 grand. Look at that one, too. Let's go to the end here. Make sure there's nothing else that we missed at the end of this page. CJ Stroud, really nice shield there. All right, so we'll stop there. We got about 10 items to go through here. Okay, so we're gonna start with the biggest item of the month, and the item that we probably already know the most about. I actually did a reel on this the first time it was up. So this is the backstory on this one. You probably already heard is this case sold for like over $3 million. It was the biggest, I believe, the biggest unopened product sale of all time. Well, the only problem is the guy didn't pay for it, which is a significant problem. Heritage is as good as anybody about vetting their buyers and not having these situations where an item doesn't sell. But every once in a while, somebody who has the financial wherewithal, because they've been vetted, goes through the process and then decides at the end not to pay. And it is really one of the worst things with our hobby, because when you're bidding, you want to feel, when you're bidding against somebody, you want to feel like that person's really willing to pay for it. And when they don't, it compromises the whole process. It doesn't feel good. Well, Heritage has done the best thing that they can sort of around this, and they've been honest about it, and everybody knows what's going on. But the thing that I don't like that it's done is it's taken the story off of how special this case is, and it's made it about the fact that it didn't get paid for. The numbers on this are staggering with how many Gretzky rookies, OPC rookies, are in this case. The fact that this case sat in a family's home for years with them thinking that it was the next year, the 1980 set, and that it took them busting open just the top of the case a little bit to see that it was, in fact, from the next year. It's got this incredible story to it. It is likely the greatest unopened case of cards in existence, and it's been sort of tarnished because somebody didn't pay for it, which I think is really unfortunate and sad. You wonder, what's the best thing to do with this? It may be, and this is where people who have a lot of money, I would guess, are likely going to be enterprising with this case. You have to look at it and say, okay, at what point would it be better to buy the whole case and to sell them off as boxes? Because, like I said, I think it sold for $3.2 million the first time. Don't make sure you take a look at that. This time it's at 1.35. Again, with 3 days to go. And so it's really a special piece in a way that we can't really say about other items, because how often can you get something in your hands and say, like, this is likely the best case in existence? It's the only known case of the 1979 OPC in the world. It's the hockey card, the iconic hockey card. And there's something like 20 of them, 16 to 20 of them in this case that have never been seen or handled by human hands. Like, that is amazing, along with all the other cards in the product. One Gretzky, one of them, if it's a PSA 10, is worth the case price, and then a lot more. But is there one in there? Most people would say probably not. There are probably not any that are gem 10s in there. Are there any 9s? Are there more than one 9? Or how many? We just don't know. We have no idea. We have no idea what the centering is going to be, what the cut's going to be. It could be the greatest case of, it could be a great thing to open it, but that's the mystique. And that's why my guess is that the case will never get opened, because having the greatest sealed case in all of sports cards, or arguably the greatest case in all of sports cards, to me is a lot cooler than giving it a shot. Although it would be like, that would be the ultimate, like, let's see what's in here. I honestly like that it got bid on and not paid for, because it like creates this sort of negative feeling around it that may make it sell for less money too. All right, I've given you guys enough on that one. Let's look at this Steph Curry here, because there's a few things here that are really important to highlight. The first thing to highlight before we talk about some of the negative is this is arguably the card from the whole of the Panini era. Really, truly. 2009 National Treasures was the first time that Panini created National Treasures for basketball. They had made it, and Panini had purchased Donruss. Donruss had made National Treasures in football for, I think, a couple of years before this. And when we found out that Upper Deck could no longer make basketball cards, we were all worried, like, well, what are they going to do for like the exquisite RPA? What's that going to be? Well, Panini's like, we're just going to make this thing called National Treasures, and it worked, right? It worked really well. Instead of having some of the worst rookies numbered out of 225, they just made all the rookies numbered out of 99. And I'm so glad that they did, because you got the cards out of 99, then you've got these golds that are out of 25. It's a small number of the best RPAs for the first year. Now, the card has not gone without some controversy. Some, and I don't know if it's a huge number, but there are certainly several, more than one, maybe 5 or 10, where the patch has been switched out here for a more colors on the patch. And some people have bought those cards not knowing that they're getting a card with a patch that was not original to the card. I personally like a patch like this one, This is not a top 10%. This is not a top 25. I don't think it's 50. I think it's probably around a 60 to 70 percentile patch. It does have 3 colors and it does have several things going on. It's certainly in the average category, but it's got this large area up here that is very, very much sort of like not ideal for the card. Also, you might be able to see better than I can. There's a chance you can see a little bit of the ink from Curry's signature on the jersey. And some people are going to look at that and they're going to say, that's an eyesore. I don't like that. I agree that the autograph going into the patch area is definitely not ideal. It's not. But hopefully you can see the ink in here. And maybe if you blow it up, I can blow it up, my bad. Now, my problem always on this is I'm colorblind. I'm not sure if there's any blue in that orange or not. I just don't know. I'm not confident enough to know. You'd love it if this autograph would have stopped short here. But there's another one of these where he sort of like squiggles on the patch that I've commented before and said, gosh, that's a real eyesore. Like, I really don't like that. This one doesn't bother me nearly as much. It's not nearly as detrimental or as negative as that other one. And it's not ideal either. You'd rather have it all on the white. The card's a BGS 9.5. You can see it was graded in the 1/1s. That's not a tremendously long time ago. Take a look at the cert number on their website. My guess is that's probably around 2020-ish, maybe a little bit after. I don't know. So that's probably a good guess. It's like I said, it's the gold version. It's a 9.5. The surface is the only thing that wasn't a 9.5 on it. So it's a minimum gem copy. But it's the gold too. It's numbered 18 out of 25. You can see they gave the autograph a 9. To me, that autograph, because it goes onto the card, is, it's bottom 25% autograph. It does have good color and it's got good detail in the autograph, but it's a bottom 25% autograph because it goes in there. So it's a bottom 30 to 40% patch, bottom 25% autograph. I'd say around a 25% autograph because, again, I think the color is pretty good. And then the card is 9.5, which is really strong. It's really, really good. Sitting at 100 grand, it's going to go for a lot more than that. It's the Steph RPA, guys. There's one that people know, and that's it. And it's the gold version. And, you look at Curry and you say, there's him and LeBron for this era. Those are the two big names, and this is his big card. The most closely correlated LeBron card would be his exquisite gold RPA out of 23. Now, he doesn't have any where he accidentally signed a little bit on the patch. He does have some weaker patches, though, and all of those are $300,000-$400,000. You can see we're less than half of the lower end of that right now. So it'll be interesting to see where it ends up. All right, let's move on to the Wilt. The Wilt in a 9 is interesting because we just saw a Wilt in a 10, an SGC 10, sell for a record price. And since it is on the cover of Basketball Card Fanatic, where I interviewed Steve Lichtman for this issue, I should know right off the top of my head how much it sold for, but I think it was like 1.6 million. I could look through it. We certainly talk about that in the issue, but it's been a while since we talked about it. It just came in the mail today. I will hide this. Hopefully I had that hidden before. So, but the fact that sold for as much as it did, it's brought this sort of intrigue around it. It's neat to see a 9 hit the market. And it's a really nice 9. The edges look exactly like you want them to. It is a wonderful registration copy. You can see a little bit of light underneath his arm here. If we highlight the nameplate, you can see just a little bit off to the side here. I think I can't tell what colors it is, but a little bit to the left. And then you can see this little bit of yellow down below, but far less than you usually see on this card, I think. And I think the edges look like you want them to. Little fisheye or print spot there. It's a beautiful example. And if we turn it around, we can see that it's one of the earliest of the PSA holograms. And you can see that there's some damage on the sticker here. So a lot of the hologram is still there, but some of the hologram has been removed. It's like somebody put a sticker on it, and when they put the sticker on it, that part of that hologram came off. I didn't even know that hologram could come off. But the card was graded 25-ish years ago. So 23 to 25-ish years ago. So it's one of the earliest Wilt 9s. I wish that PSA you could see, where it fell in the spectrum. It's neat to know it's been in that holder that whole time, untouched by human hands. You can see it sits a little bit high. It's a little bit, the centering's a little bit off, that direction too, but it has not been, the corners are sharp and so are the edges. And the edges look like you want them to, with being the rough cut. I say the edges are sharp. They're sharp in that they haven't been touched, but they're not sharp in that, even the right side as well as a little bit rough, not as rough as the left. And so anytime we see a Wilt 9 move, though, it's a big deal. There are now 4 PSA 10s. So it's not the highest graded, but it's close. A card that is the highest graded, obviously, this is PSA 10 Ricky Henderson, a card that we've seen move several times in the last year, which is kind of surprising that we've seen it move as much as it has. Because of all of the cards that have been graded a lot, people really find as beloved cards in this hobby, the hardest PSA 10 of them all is this card. If we look at the population report real quick, we'll find that there are 25 Ricky Henderson PSA 10s. 25 Ricky Henderson PSA 10s out of, I know it's one of the 100 most graded cards in the history of the hobby, because I've done some research on this. Out of 39,000 plus, 39,300-ish copies, there are 25 that have been graded a PSA 10. And that's why, as far as rate of gems go, it is the lowest of all of the 100 most graded cards in the history of the hobby. So you can look around it. You can see, like, there's so many issues with the card, potentially, from centering to color to everything else. And because you're at the beginning of cards being worth some money, most of them also have issues with the corners and the edges. The back also presents lots of opportunities with this color. You see a lot of white on a lot of the edges, and a lot of them are not PSA 10s. Obviously, 99.9 something percent are not PSA 10s. Like I said, of all the 100 most graded cards in the history of PSA, it is the lowest Pop 10 rate. All right, let's look at this LeBron. LeBron's Noble, what is it called? Noble nameplates. I always get the Noble nameplates and the notable nicknames messed up, and so I feel like I'm going to say them the wrong way. The image that Heritage took here is really nice. Look at this. Sometimes you cannot make out what is going on in this holofoil around the patch, but in this case you can. So this is that really beautiful, eye-catching holofoil that in hand creates that rainbow feature, but you can't really see that as well in the image because it's impossible to capture in a still image. What you can see is that it's been etched all around the edges. See Noble nameplates, 2003, 2004. And then on the bottom, Exquisite Collection. Just that patch window tells such a tremendous story. You can see the holofoil in the serial number 13 of 25. And then, of course, you have this 2-color patch, which I think is definitely a bottom 20% patch. It's not a strong patch at all. But the autograph is exactly what you want. One of the most common questions that I'm asked about this card is that a sticker? Because it is such a designed area for the autograph. It is not a sticker. It is just a design with lines that were meant to draw LeBron to autograph his perfect signature right there. You can see it has been graded a 10. I sure hope so, because the autograph does not get any nicer than that. It's also been exceptionally well preserved as an autograph, right? It has not spent too much time in the light. So where this is a bottom 25% patch, and there's probably some that are just one color, that is as good of an autograph as you will ever find on this card. And the story that people always say 2003 Exquisite was the first $500 pack product, blah, 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 blah. I don't think unless you were there, you can really understand how big of a deal Exquisite was. Till Exquisite had come out, the highest end product that we'd been given was $100 a pack. And what Upper Deck said is, we know that this is crazy. We know there's a lot of risk here, but we believe that there's a real market for an ultra elite high-end card where we strip out all of the crap. We make the base set ultra rare, easily the rarest base set of all time. We add multiple autograph patches per pack, and everything else is like a jersey card or a patch card. Everything has a really neat name and has been well designed. We're going to charge $500 for it, and we're going to see if there's a real demand here. Well, we know 20 years later, it's been over 20 years, it's been like 20 years and 5 months now, is a lot of people feel it's the best and most important set of basketball cards that's ever been made. And it was generally made because LeBron James was a rookie. This is one of his RPAs from the product. Every card of LeBron James in the product is an RPA if it's autographed, meaning every card that he signed also has a patch. He has no cards that are just straight signatures from 2003 Exquisite, which I think is really an interesting fact. I sort of just discovered that recently. I was looking through the checklist and I realized, oh my goodness, LeBron doesn't have an autograph. He just has autograph patches. This is one of the rarest ones. He has the number pieces that's out of 23. He has the emblems and endorsements that's out of 15, and he has another card that's out of 25. And then obviously he has his rookie patch auto, which is out of 23. That's it's several $100,000. That's the parallel of the base card. But if you look at the back, the thing that's different here that this has is a competitive advantage even over that card that sells for hundreds of thousands of dollars, is this one is game used. That other one that I was talking about is not. So it is one of my favorite cards of the auction. And again, I love that it has a weak patch. I love that it has a weak patch because weak patches to me say that is an original patch. Sometimes when you see a really nice patch, you have to wonder, has that been switched out by somebody? And you have to do some more research. Not that you shouldn't do research on a card like this. You absolutely should. You absolutely should. But a 9 grade 2, guys, this card's going to do really well. And people will say, wow, why did a card with that patch do so well? Well, it's because it's got everything else going for it. Speaking of other big LeBron James from his rookie Exquisite, I wanted to look at this one because I actually wanted to see the cert number. Yeah, it's back in the 7 millions. So this is like 2010 or 11. It was signed, I think, this was slabbed like 7 or 8, 9 years after it was made. Number 86 out of 100. Heritage's images here are really good. This blue autograph, though, let's just talk about that. That's the story. That's as blue as an autograph as you could ever hope for on this card. The other thing that I think is interesting is, and if I closed the other one, I already closed the other one. Compare the autographs on this one and that one. You can see that LeBron was sort of in the middle of figuring out his autograph in the Exquisite product because they look pretty different. Both really blue and really nice, though. And 9.5 on this is a great grade, obviously. All right, let's come look at another Exquisite card, our third straight. This is the Kobe Bryant 2003 limited logos. And I would tell you, sorry, I had to pause for a second. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to say this. So for this issue, again, so forgive me. Let me come back here real quick. If I can figure out how to use my computer. So for this issue of Basketball Card Fanatic, we asked 20 collectors, what do you believe are the 25 most iconic basketball cards of the century so far? We said, what do you think are the cards that are the most iconic basketball cards thus far, and rank them? We didn't give them a survey to say, here are the cards to choose from. We let people choose their own cards, which was an absolute beast to average in the end. It was really hard for me to go through and average all of that in the end because people had such different formats. And basically, if you're an Excel person, you have to get everything in an identical format to be able to aggregate that information together. Just using basic sum ifs and stuff like that after the fact. But for example, Nat Turner sent a list. He said, these are the 25 cards that I believe are most iconic from 1 to 25. And I did the same. And Ben J. Carlos did the same. And Dar's Cards did the same. And YROZ Marin did the same thing. And like all of these MK Sports cards did the same thing. Like all these big basketball card collectors did the same thing. And when they did that, in the end, we were able to average it and come up with this list. Well, coming back to this card, this is a Kobe that several people put down as a card that they believe should make the top 25. Now, spoiler, it didn't make the list. This did not make the top 25. But only 10 cards received over 3 votes that didn't make the top 25. And this was one of them. So this is sort of like a top 35 card of the era so far. And I personally didn't even consider it. I did not even consider putting this card on my ranked list. But then I looked at the lists that put it on there and I thought, I guess I should think about it. It's the first limited logos of Kobe. It is a great big piece of patch. And we've seen some of these where the autograph goes off on this side, and at the beginning here. This one looks just like you want it to. And you can see that 10 autograph. I mean, it really does have everything that you want in terms of an autograph. The question that I have is, why is it authentic? And when I talked to Jason over there about the LeBron that was up a couple of months ago, he said, and I don't know for sure that this is one. Let me look. I don't know if this is part of the same collection as those other ones. It is. Hidden collection from the Yao Exquisite Hidden Collection. So this card sat raw for years and they graded it. Their minimum grade on those were 7s. This could be a 6, and a 6 on this card is not a bad grade. That is an amazing patch. My guess is that this card jumps quite a bit because people know it's from the Yao collection. They love that patch. They know it's just been sitting like this for so long. I think this card's going to jump quite a bit toward the end, and we will see. And I have now taken too long. I got to fly through these last ones. The Yao, one of the best Yao cards in existence. This is the 1/1 patch auto from the 2009, the very last set. That autograph is on card, obviously. A great looking patch. And why am I not seeing the 1/1? I should be seeing it. I should know where it is off the top of my head. But it is not. There it is. It's just a little light in the image, but you can see the gold on the black there. And then lastly, a card that I've already talked about in a reel, LeBron's only immaculate standalone logo men card in a Miami Heat uniform ever made. And they made 3 of them. And lastly, but definitely not least, I love this card, and I love that they have the 3 rarest ones. So you see 1951 Topps, and if you love old baseball, you should immediately say, wait, 1951 Topps? Unless you're like a total card geek, and you know that Topps made a few sets in 1951. They actually made a set in 1948, I believe, too. But the 1951 sets, there are 2 All-Stars sets. And one is the Connie Mack All-Stars that has old retired guys like Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth had been retired for 17 years at this point, and he's in it, and Lou Gehrig and those types. But they also made a very small number of current players, and 3 of those players were ultra short printed, and they never, ever, ever sell. Robin Roberts is the best of those 3 players. There are 2 of these cards that have ever been graded by PSA, and we've never seen it sell publicly. So, I mean, like when I look at this card, I'm like, holy crap. I can't believe that that's at auction because it's from the first year of Topps baseball. It's from the rarest set of Topps baseball. It's the rarest card from that rarest set of Topps baseball of the best player from that rarest section. It says altered. I don't know if it says altered because it's been ripped here. I couldn't really figure that out as I looked over the card, but I don't even care. Like, I just couldn't care any less. Like, that is one of the most grail ghost of a cards that you will ever see. Amazing. All right. We're going to call it there for Heritage. We're going to move on to Alt, the Alt weekly auction that ends every Thursday. And we're going to hit this quickly. The Lonzo Ball. I don't think it's been a long time since we've seen a Lonzo Ball sell for this much, and it's not shocking. This is, in some people's minds, probably the second best Lonzo Ball card in existence. This is the Nebula Prism rookie. And he started off the year really playing pretty well. And I think people are left asking the question, is he going to be who we thought he had the chance to be? He's got a nice running mate next to him. And the pair are going to see how well the pair can do. Great size in the backcourt, a highlight film to be sure, and a guy who we've known about since he was in high school. And the Nebula is probably next to the black as his best card. Some people would also say, well, you got to put the Logo Man autographs in there too, and that's probably true. That's probably true, but certainly like a top 5-ish card of LaMelo Ball in existence. We're gonna look at this Kobe. Let's scroll down and see if there's one more. Yeah, we're gonna look at this MJ too. And again, we've got to be fast this week. So some people are gonna see this and say, "Oh, we saw that sell not long ago," because there is a gold superfractor of this card too. Remember, 2005 Finest is the year that they made, I think, 6 different superfractors. It might be 5 superfractors and 1 other X-fractor, but I think there's 6 one-of-ones total or 7 one-of-ones total. I own one of the other 5 or 6 of this, so I definitely should know it off the top of my head, but I don't. Mine is the white superfractor, and I wish that instead I owned this card. This card is a far superior card than mine. Why? Well, this one doesn't have the white border. It doesn't have the border around it. You'd rather just have it be the clean card, right? But the reason that this card is, in my humble opinion, easily the best of the superfractors is that while all the other ones have like gold and green and like they have the colors or the borders or whatever, this is just the straight up superfractor, right? This is the finest superfractor of Kobe. Now, you can still ask the question, well, are there other supers that year? And the answer is yes, but the answer is also yes, but there are none others that are just the superfractor. They all have like a caveat to them. Like mine is the white superfractor. And again, I love it. It's a great card. I'm not like totally poo-pooing the fact, like I own a Kobe Bryant superfractor. There are something like 34 of them total in existence. And I think there's like 26 or 22 or something total base superfractors of Kobe Bryant. A bunch of them are like insert-y type cards, and those generally just are not viewed as nice. But several of those base superfractors came from this finest 2005 set, which is one of the nicest looking sets ever made. This card in person, unreal, gorgeous, beautiful card. But it's hard to sort of, if this was the 2005 Chrome superfractor, it would be a factor of 10 here. Like, and this is, I think this card will probably sell for, I mean, I don't know. It could sell for quite a bit more. I actually have no idea what this card's going to sell for. I have no clue what this card will sell for. But if this was the Chrome, it would be so much more, because it's like, Chrome is the more popular brand, and it's the Chrome Super. The fact that there's multiples of this set, I think people look at it and go, oh, it's different. But again, I'm trying to walk this line here. I want to be honest and teach you guys, like share with you guys, like, yes, there are multiple superfractors from the set, but I want to be really clear. This is the best one, period. So whatever the gold sold for before, like me personally, I would rather have this card. I would rather have this card significantly more than the other ones, because it's just the straight up superfractor. Also, this one is a 10, right? So you're getting the card with the grade, and you can see the 1-of-1 here on the back, and it's in the PSA holder. It's an amazing card. I wanted to make a reel on it this week. I've run out of time and I got to go. And then the last one that I want to talk about is this Jordan. This is a card that I've seen in hand. I've seen a lot of these cards in hand from, this is 06, right? Am I right about that? It's not, yeah, 06. So the thing that you will never notice on this card and many cards from 06, but you will if you see them in person, and it's the only time that Exquisite did this, is a lot of their design work is done through like an embossing. And you can't really see it in the pictures here. I'd put it on your phone and zoom in, look at the different variations that you can find. But there's like embossing done along some of the cards. Serial numbers out of holofoil. The autograph on Jordan here is perfect. Really beautiful long form autograph and 2 really nice patches. And then, the easier storyline here is emblems of endorsement. They made 10 some years. I think they made 10 in like 09. And then in other years, they made 15. In 03, they made 15. In 04, they made, I don't know. I think it's 10. I don't remember. It might be, I think it's 15. I don't know. And then you've got 06 here. And then I don't know what they did for 05. I need to look back. But Michael Jordan only has so many emblems of endorsement autograph patches. This is one of it's one of the least desirable, I think. But even as I say that, I'm like, don't say that, Adam, because there's so few of them. They so rarely pop up for sale that this one will be really interesting to see what it does. All right, that's it for alt. We got to keep moving this week. Fanatics Collect, the first thing that's going to jump out to you is one of the best Alperen Sengun cards in existence. We'll talk about that one briefly. This MJ 500 volts or high voltage 500 volts in a 9 is a big deal. Check out the population on that one. Look at this, actually. Pop 1 of 13, just 3 higher. Good note here from Fanatics Collect on that. Let's look at this Crosby, which is the jersey numbered version of the Cup RPA. And let's look at this Gordie Howe. We're going to get 2 hockey cards. How about that? Jeremy Lee, how about that? And look at that Shea. Man, that's a pretty card. So much good stuff. Gosh, I wish I had more time. This is how I always feel. We're going to do a third hockey card with this Connor McDavid. How about that? So Alperen Sengun. Houston's young. Houston's really good. And everybody's still trying to figure out who on that team is going to be who stays, because they can't keep all of their young guys forever. But Sengun's really good. He's just tough as heck. I mean, he's just this tough dude who's inside. Kind of like, I've heard people talk about Jokic in some ways. There is no other Jokic, right? Jokic is one of a kind player. Sengun's really good, though. He does some things that are really problematic in today's NBA. And you've got to love that this has the rookie emblem down here. The shield, the logo man from the 75th anniversary. Card hasn't been graded. It's just been graded as an authentic with the auto being a 10. 1 of 1 on the card. I mean, it's the flawless, and it's the NT Logo Man RPA are the best Logo Man RPA cards. It's those ones along with the Nebula and the black in the Prism. And that's like his 5 best cards in existence. And that's why you're like, why is Alperen Sengun at 14 grand? Because cards like this rarely hit auction. Cards like this almost always move via private sale. I've been waiting for the Rudy Gobert of this card for 10 years. Because I love Rudy Gobert. And people are like, why do you love Rudy Gobert? I'm from Utah, and I love Rudy. I love how he plays, and I've always loved Rudy. Anyway, I digress. Sengun's got a chance to be a multi-time all-star, all-NBA type player, and this is one of his best cards in existence. The Crosby here, if you know this set, one of the first things you're going to notice is that the autograph does not look exactly like you want it to. It is darker than you want it to be, but it is a Crosby jersey numbered the Cup rookie card, and every time one of those hits auction, it is a major event. It's one of the most important hockey cards made in this century for sure. And so you might get a discount because the autograph's a little bit darker, but also a lot of them, we've seen several of them at this point. Several of them, the autographs have not been well, cared for. They haven't been protected. They've been under light. A lot of them look like this. So I don't want to poo-poo it too much. It's still the card, right? And it might give you a chance at it being a little bit cheaper because the autograph's not perfectly blue. This Gordie Howe card, I heard on this one and did some research once upon a time. Everybody knows this card. This is one of the hockey cards, blank back on all of them. But the cards were originally mixed in a cement mixer. So they were hand-packed. They were originally mixed, though, together by a cement mixer, and then somebody took them out and put them into the packs. The fact that any of them survived that in as high a grade as this one is really awesome. Obviously, the card's a little bit off-centered, significantly off-centered, but we've seen a lot worse on this card. Presents exceptionally well. And then lastly, our third hockey card, the Connor McDavid here. I always love autographs on patches. I do. I think people have said, oh, I don't like that. They're going to fade. And some of them do. But what we've seen is some of them are 20 years old and they look just like they were signed yesterday. They've held up just as well as if they were signed on card, and sometimes better. And sometimes people discount them for some reason, but this is a great card. Scripted Swatches is a cross-sport brand that people love. It is from 2015. I believe that is McDavid's rookie year. You will see up here, rookie patch auto. Is it game used? Ah, I clicked the wrong button there. I believe it is event used. Event used, not game used. Event used. I misspoke. And that is it for the Connor McDavid, and that is it for Fanatics Collect this week. And now we shall look. And like I said, Robert Edwards auctions. Oh, I told you Robert Edwards was not. I think I might have said at the beginning that Robert Edwards did not have their auction this week. My bad on that. I meant to say Leland's does not have their auction this week. Robert Edwards, of course, has their auction this week. I've done a couple of reels on big cards, and they have one card that I have to highlight to you guys. It's a huge card that I have to highlight. And then we'll look at Goldin and Card Hobby, and we'll finish it up. So Robert Edwards this week has a few absolutely massive items ending. You can see this one's already at $500,000. Let's talk about why that one is as significant as it is. When an Eddie Plank is fourth, that's a very good 3. You know it's an insane auction. Newly discovered Ty Cobb with Ty Cobb back, and the Maze in an 8. Yeah, to me, the Maze in an 8 should be fourth here. It shouldn't be second. It should be fourth. And the prices are sort of indicating that right now, too. And this is amazing. It's an amazing card. Amazing. No pun intended. But these 3 are ghost grail cards of the era. Let's look at each of these. And then we get down into here. Oh, this ticket. Love that ticket. I did a reel on that. If you haven't already seen it, definitely go check it out. And, Russell 8. Wow. Huge card. Topps Transcendent Japanese. Shohei. Mantle in a 5.5. Ooh, a Ruth 7. The card of the auctions right here, though. Sitting at $40,000. It's like people think it's gonna just sit there at $40,000. I'll bet it doesn't. All right. Old Judge cabinet cards. Then we get into some of the other stuff here. It wasn't sorted from highest to lowest, obviously. Let's go back and just sort from highest to lowest real quick. Make sure there's not anything else that's sort of... So there's the Wagner 5. We've seen a couple of these tip-top bread ones recently, actually. All right. So let's stop there, and let's really drill in on each of these cards real quick. All right. Babe Ruth canceled. Morehouse Baking. 1916. So everybody knows there's a Babe Ruth card that was made in 1914 that was before he made it to Boston, right? This is the first image of him where he's with Boston on a card like this. And there's different versions of the card as far as I understand it. I need to do more research. But why does this one say canceled? Now, I saw on REA's wonderful print. In fact, I should have it here, but I don't. It's upstairs. Their wonderful print catalog. I saw all of these canceled cards that had been laid out. And I wondered, okay, what does that mean? So let's look down here into the description real quick and see if we can find out something. So in the second line, it says, this represents the first time that an example of a Ruth has been documented with this advertisement and presented for sale. So the very first time that we've had a Morehouse Baking on the back where it's been for sale. So it says, this auction unveils an exciting newly discovered collection of more than 100 Morehouse Baking cards with more than a dozen Hall of Famers and stars offered individually in this auction. Prior to this, we had handled only 10 Morehouse Baking cards of any player in the last 20 years. All the cards have been saved for decades in a family from near the Morehouse Baking factory. Amazingly, the collection featured a number of duplicates, including a second example of the Key Ruth card, which will be offered in a future auction. It's neat that they acknowledge that, because a lot of times when people get 2 of one big card, they know they're going to sell them, they hold back that information, hoping that it will cause people to go after the one just crazy because they think that they'll never see it again. In this case, we know we will see a second copy. But what that also provides us is an opportunity to compare the two and to ask which one is better and to come to know more about the cards. So what we didn't read here on the back, and we could continue reading, but I don't want to bore you. I'll let you read it yourself. I wonder why it says canceled what benefit was there? There's this thing here on this back, this description, and it says, here's your chance to get this and to do this. My guess is that if you collected a certain number of cards and you turn them in, that you could use them sort of as coupons for something. The fact that it's a 3.5 of a card that we have never seen before, of Babe Ruth, that is his rookie card, leaves this in the ultimate sort of like, you don't know what's going to happen with a card like this. Even though we know that there's another one coming, some people are going to look at this and say, I like this more than the 1914 card. Now, the 1914 card sold for like $7 million, but this 1916 card is him not in his his Baltimore, pre major leagues uniform. This is him in his Red Sox uniform. And you love, I want to know what the cancel is for, but you love that. It's lived its life. It presents unbelievably. Like, look at the card. The card is in incredible shape for being over 100 years old. It's a great image of Ruth, and it's ultra rare. So that will be one to watch this week. And the reason that I do this show is because the hobby is not always just about owning things. The hobby is about understanding the history of things. And it's about being excited for big auctions. Like this auction right here, I'm legitimately excited, understanding a little bit about it now. I'm excited to see what happens and how people feel about it, because it's a Babe Ruth rookie card that we've never seen before, that's in unbelievable condition and has this amazing provenance. Like, it doesn't get better than that. All right. Next, we have the Ty Cobb red, but the story here, because we see the Ty Cobb all the time, the story here is that it's the Ty Cobb back, and that we don't see very often. There are very few of those, right? Ty Cobb, I guess, had his own tobacco company for a small time, and so there's like a group of, I think it's like 10 or 12 of these ever that have been found. You can see this. There was an exciting find in recent years, which has pushed the total to fewer than 30 now. Okay, so there's fewer than 20 total, or 30 that have ever been found. Opening bid was 75 grand, and what's it at now? Let's see, it's been bid on 32 times. Wow, just an unbelievable card. All right, let's move on to the next one. I'm so low on time. The Eddie Plank, one of the rarest cards from the whole T206 set. I saw one of these for sale about a year ago. I did a reel on it. It had a big chunk out of it. This card is far superior to that. And being that it is, a card that even in any condition is worth a ton of money, this one being in a three condition will be a really interesting auction to watch too. There's not very many T206 auctions you're going to see higher than this one. Like, what would be better? What would be a better card than this? Maybe a signed Ty Cobb, and obviously a Wagner. That's pretty much the end of the list. All right, this ticket is from Jackie Robinson's debut, and I think a lot of people feel like maybe the best maybe the best ticket that you'd ever want to have. The crowd was at 75% capacity that day. 26,000 of the 30 some odd thousand were there. Very few of them were kept. They were $1.25 a ticket. And there are, I can't remember if it's 9, I think it's like 9 total that are still in existence. Again, go check out my reel on this one. But one to watch, because a lot of people feel like it's the grail of ticket collecting. Tickets we've seen sort of have this huge moment a couple of years ago, and then since then it's like, okay, what are tickets going to do? This is the grail of tickets, right? It's not in the highest condition. There are higher conditions, because if you turn around the ticket and you look at the back of it, you can see where it's been repaired. Whoops, sorry. You can see where it's been repaired here in the middle. And that's what sort of holds it together on the front. In fact, if you look at the front, you can see the cracking on the ticket here, right through rain check. And then the other thing is on the back, you can see where it was in an album, and that's why it survived, right? It's a little bit dark. in places because it's been in an album, but it presents amazingly well. I don't know the world of tickets like I know cards. I don't. But what I know is like it. When I've gotten done with a lot of sporting events, I pull my ticket out at the end and it's just like hammered. This looks pretty good to me. Like everything you can read, you can tell what's going on. It's got great color and it's not totally like destroyed. It was repaired and that's why it's been altered. But yeah, I think it's really cool. All right. And the Russell 8. I want to get a good look at this one. Very little snow, a little bit of there's a little print spot there. But as far as like the color and the registration goes, this is about as good as you're going to get. The image of Russell is really clear. It's not nearly as clear as this on a lot of different examples. Again, some print spots. This little white thing is always here on this card. The card is centered, not perfectly. That's probably why it's an 8. If it was a centered copy, it might be maybe even could have been a 9. And I think there's only 3 9s in existence. This is the best Russell we've seen for auction in a long time. You can see it's an early serial number. It's going to be one of the hologram backs, I think. Yep. And the back, gosh, the back's even better than the front. Centered better than the front for sure. Yeah, that is one of the nicest Russell rookies you're ever going to see, and that's why it's a 65 grand. All right. Okay, the card of the day. One of the cards that we will look at and go, okay, I have no idea what this is going to do. Why do we have no idea what it's going to do? Because it's graded a 4. This is one of the biggest, and yes, I'm biased because I own a copy, one of the biggest Michael Jordan cards in existence. This is the PMG from the Metal Universe Championship set. And from the front, it displays, bottom left corner is not perfect, and neither is bottom right. But given that it came out of a $2 pack per pack product 27 years ago, it presents exceptionally. This is where PSA over the last few years has made things so difficult on 90s collectors. Like, does this present like a 4? You see 4 and you're like, whoa, what massive thing is wrong with this card? It's not. It's a really nice example. I will tell you also, the thing that I'm jealous of here is it is in a PSA holder. Mine is in a BGS holder. And this is a card that the PSA holder helps you to see the card better. BGS holders get a little bit, they're thick and you don't always see all of the detail. You'll see all of the detail on this. Man, it's the best. MJ flying through the Chicago skyline. MJ or Karl Malone there on the side. And if we turn it around on the back, you'll see the reason, probably the most major reason why it's a 4 rather than like a 6 or a 7. See this line right here, right underneath the serial number. I wonder if that's from being in a holder too long that applied a little bit too much pressure. I've not seen that line there, that very faint white line. But again, that's so minor. The whole card looks really nice. Yes, this top corner right here has some more major chipping, but I just don't think that warrants a 4. This is a beautiful example. Number 15 of 50, so it's not from the final 5. It's not from one of the redemptions. It was actually in the packs. Mine is from the redemptions. Mine's a BGS 9. And there's no question. My 9, as far as like the corners and the edges and all that line on the back not being there, mine's a nicer card than this card is. There's no question about that. And so when we saw the 9 sold not long ago for like, I think it was close to 300, it was like $276,000, I think. That was a nicer card than this. But this is still one of the 50, guys. And it maybe is one of the lowest ones graded, but it doesn't present like a poorly conditioned card. It is a beautiful, beautiful example of one of the nicest looking cards in existence. It's at 40 grand and it will end, I'm just guessing, nowhere near that. I don't think it'll end anywhere near that. I think it'll be, I don't know how much it'll be. I don't like talking about those things, especially when it's my own card, so I should shut up now. But I think it has a ways to go. How about that? We'll just leave it there. The Kobe Bryant in a PSA 10. Always a story every time it sells. Check for greening and make sure that you understand how you feel about that. Card looks like it's off-centered a little bit side to side. little bit wider on the right than it is on the left, but still was good enough to get the PSA 10 grade. But boy, that's going to be another one of those early holders. Oh, wait, it's not an early holder. It is a new holder, which means that it was recently sent over the last couple of years back in and kept its first serial number. So that's kind of cool. Really neat piece. All right. And now we have made it to the Goldin Elite auction. Sorry, I'm still on REA's website. Now we have made it to the Goldin Elite auction ending in 5 days. So that's Saturday, with some absolutely huge pieces. And we're going to, man, I'm so limited on time. I'm so limited on time. We're going to have to not do all of them, but we're going to do, we'll do 10. Got to do all 3 of these first ones. We'll do this Jordan. We'll do this triple autograph right here. Do this dual autograph patch. This exquisite limited logos. I got to do the set. That's crazy. All PSA 10. Caitlin. Gold vinyl. That's interesting. I got to do this Freddie Freeman. That's really cool. Otani. Autograph star. Really nice star in a or wait, no, not autographed. My bad. A BGS 9. I've got to do this Playmakers Theater because we haven't seen it sell in forever, and that's a really high grade copy. Got to do the scripted swatches. Man, I'm in trouble here. There's so many good cards. Got to do this duel right here. Man, so much good stuff. I just did a Kobe Gold or a Kobe Refractor PSA 10, so I'm going to skip this one. I've got to do this Mahomes. Man, this auction, every time, this Jalen Brunson, it's like one of the very best cards in the whole auction. Man, I'm skipping straight up logo man cards. I'll do this Wembanyama. We're already at over 10 items. This auction's phenomenal. I want to say save the best for last, but this Rodman. Oh, I didn't even know this was up. Oh my goodness. Wow, guys. This auction is bonkers. Derrick Rose, CDR. Wow. I'm like stunned at those Rodmans. You guys can hear me just like audibly sort of go, oh my goodness, this is huge. Okay, we're going to stop there. I'm out of time. I've got to move through these. Wow. LeBron rarely signs 23. He did here for some reason. Maybe because he realized that this was a really special card. Irving's autograph is straight and just on point. Why in the world is this autograph graded a 9 PSA? Because there's maybe a little bit of streaks going on in LeBron's. This is where autograph grades are so dumb. These are one of the coolest, one of the best looking pair of dual autographs you'll ever see. And that, like, I've completely buried the lead with 2 game used logo mans of some people's minds, like the 2 most talented basketball players of all time. Irving and LeBron, I've always said, have a lot in common in that I don't think either one of them are the best player ever. Jordan's the best player ever. But as far as being like amazing, like just doing amazing things, these 2 guys, as far as a talent, you see the Irving highlights in your mind, the swooping, like unbelievable athleticism. And we don't even have most of his best highlights because his best highlights are from the early 70s where not all of the games are televised. And then LeBron is, from a talent perspective, the greatest player of all time. And he's done things and has a body and a set of skills that we have never seen and we will likely never see again. And he's done it forever. But I don't have to talk to you guys about basketball. Like, this is the last year of Exquisite. This is one of the best cards from the last year of Exquisite. It's unbelievable. Recently, we saw a LeBron dual logo man auto with Larry Hughes, which I think sort of cheapens the idea of what a dual logo man auto could be. That card probably should have never been made. This card absolutely should have been made. And you might say, well, what's the connection between these two? They're two of the best wings. They both played small forward. Doc played small forward most of his career, although he like led the ABA in rebounding one year. They're two of the best players ever. On everybody's top 25 to 30 list ever, Irving is, and LeBron, is most people say a top 2 player ever. I love that LeBron saw this card and said, let me go all out on this autograph. Okay, we're going to stop there. I wish I had more time. The Mahomes, I just want to point out because it's the jersey number 8 of 15. That's what the green is, and that's really cool to me. And this patch is really nice. Most of these are 2-color. This card's only been graded authentic, but when we're starting to see it less than we used to see it, take a real close look at the card and understand why it's authentic. I know there's a couple of these that are creased. This might be one of them. But what I will tell you, I've seen this card in hand. I've compared it to the regular card. It is night and day a better card than the base card. The champ ticket is so much nicer. The Jordan, the story here obviously is that it's a gem mint. The story is it's one of his very first autographed jersey cards in existence. And this and the other variations of this card are his first autographed Bulls jersey card in existence. The prior year is the All-Star jersey. But the fact that this is a gem 10, I don't know how many of them there are, but there aren't very many. And so definitely one of those that you want to look at and go, okay, is this worth considering? And then another one of the 107 triple autographs of these 3. I've heard people say this is the nicest one. And I get that. Aesthetically, like the Sign of the Times is really a great looking card. The gold one, the one that we saw a couple weeks ago, that was, I think it was Fanatics Collect that sold that one. The autographs are on gold and they just don't show up as well. These ones are on white and they show up really well. The only thing here that's not perfect is that I think these autographs are less blue than they should be. I believe these started blue and they've faded into that darker area. They're not faded into oblivion. You can still see them perfectly, but I don't think they're quite the color they should be. Fact check me on that. Make sure that I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. This is amazing. What is the A for here? Just authentic? I think A is for authentic here. And the autograph grade is a 10. See, he signed 23 here. So in this 2009-10 set, he just signed the dual logo men and this specific card to 23 with the 23. Everything else he signed with the normal LeBron James without the pound sign and without the number 23. Hall of foil throughout. The one that I did a video on this one recently didn't have nearly the quality patches as this one does. This is one of the better patches. The autographs look just like you want them to. It's a great looking card. I wonder why it's authentic. That's one thing I would look at. Why is it authentic? Jordan, just like that triple we saw a minute ago, the autograph's a little bit darker here than I'd want it to be. But it's a 9.5 grade. It does have, looks like a third color. Is that red or is that black? I'm not sure. This is obviously black and white. Numbered out of 75. Great grade. That autograph's going to hurt the total value, though. So if you're looking for a gem of this card that you can get for the best price, there's a chance this one's going to be a pretty good deal for you because of that autograph quality not being as nice. And now, the 1986 set, missing just 4, featuring 341 Gem Mint 10 examples. This is insane. Means every card in here is a Gem 10. For a set that's this condition sensitive, this is insane. The Young is impossible. I've always said I like the Young far better than the Rice on this card being in a PSA 10 because the pop is so low. And I know that Jerry Rice is an all-timer is greater than Steve Young, obviously totally different positions. But the Young is just so much rarer than the Rice. And the Rice is really rare too. Remember I mentioned earlier in this episode how the Ricky Henderson is one of the toughest PSA 10s of the 100 most graded cards. Another one of the 3 toughest PSA 10s across the hobby for most graded cards ever is this Jerry Rice. But it's not nearly as tough as the Steve Young is. Steve Young just hasn't been graded as much to qualify for that count. That set right there will be really interesting to watch. Freddie Freeman has gotten an awful lot of love this last couple of months, and for good reason. The MVP of the World Series and a guy who had just a fantastic postseason. And it seems like a lot of people really like him and who he is. This is his Bowman Chrome Superfractor. I can't tell. I'm not smart enough to know back from the early 2000s if they always put first Bowman card on that, or if I should know by the color of Bowman Chrome here. But the question that I would ask is, where does this fit in Freddie Freeman's, like, is it his first Bowman Chrome card? Because if it is, then this is just an absolutely massive, crazy, insane card. I would look into that. I don't know all the history here, but as soon as I saw Freddie Freeman, Bowman Chrome, and Superfractor, you can see here it says rookie card. Like, I said to myself, wow, that could be huge. Because if this is his first Bowman Chrome card, then a lot of people will consider this. I think almost everybody who loves baseball cards would consider this his best card. And that's a big deal. And this is a card that we haven't seen sell. And cards like it we haven't seen sell for a while. So let me give you some background here. For a while, we began to see more of the ultra high-end Jordan inserts sell, sort of post-pandemic, and prices came down a ton. Like we saw, I'm talking like, not like the elite of the elite, not like the PMGs, but the inserts, the rarest inserts. We saw like Playmakers Theaters coming out every couple of months, and we saw Jambalayas in every other auction. We saw Slam Bams 3 or 4 times a year, 5-6 times a year. We saw like gold StarQuest cards out of 100 sell more frequently, and we saw gold fusions, even the one out of 40. We saw those sell fairly commonly. And then the world said, all right, they've come down too much. The collectors are like, we're done. We're not selling them anymore. And this is one of those cards that we just haven't seen. It is one of 3 cards from Michael Jordan's time as a Bull that's a true insert, that's serial numbered, and isn't a parallel. And it's easily the best of those 3. It, along with the Jambalaya, Gold Fusion, and the Slam Bams, are, in my opinion, the 4 best insert cards of Michael Jordan, not counting parallels. And of those 4, I've heard a lot of people say it's the best one. It's not as rare as the Fusion, but the Fusion is a parallel of the regular card. I own it and I own the Fusion. I like the Fusion better. But I love this card because it came out of a $1.25 pack. It's serial numbered out of 100. It is an absolutely impossible pull. It is one of the most deeply embossed cards in existence. When you see it, you'll see it just like popping out of the card. It does not refract. Instead, it has sort of it's not a foil. I don't know if it's a foil or a hue, but this whole area is just golden, but it's not gold. It's like glossy and golden. It's out of 100, and in a PSA 8.5, it's actually a great card. I will tell you this. I have a BGS 8. Mine is BGS 8. This is a PSA 8.5. I would guess that this will sell for, I don't want to guess. This card is so much more sought after than my 8 because of how high the grade is. This card's worth so much more than my copy is because of how high the grade is. And because it hasn't sold in so long, I know there's a lot of people watching this one. This Jordan I love because the autograph on here looks really nice. Not very many of them look as nice as this one. And this one looks just like you want it to. And it has that second color coming through. Bird Magic is the ultimate pairing in basketball history. It's from the last year of Exquisite, and they're both on it together, and they're both game used logo men. We've seen a couple of these sell recently, which sometimes provides an opportunity for something to sell for a lot less than it has historically. I love it when a big card like this sells a couple times in real quick succession. I don't know if that's what's going to happen here. PSA 9 grade's really strong. The last one I think we saw was a BGS 9, which is not as strong, but which is still a great card. This one was recently graded, really recently graded. Number 3 of 50. Worth watching. The Mahomes, I just wanted to comment here. I've seen this card in hand, and it is unbelievable. The cracked ice up above in the PSA holder, with the black. It's just a gorgeous card. And what I would say is I would say this is if you said, Adam, what is the best Jalen Brunson card in the world? I would say this one. We saw the Nebula sell recently for like close to 100 grand. I think this is a superior card. It's got the holofoil. It's the same year as Luka. Like, what's interesting, who's had more success, Jalen Brunson or Luka Doncic? People are going to say, Adam, that's a stupid question to ask because Luka Doncic is one of the best offensive players of all time. And Jalen Brunson, sure, he's gone to the postseason and had some success in the postseason, but not nearly as much as Luka. It's amazing that they played together. Luka's last sold for 3.2 million, 2.8 million, something like that. Brunson will not sniff those numbers, obviously, but would it shock me if Jalen Brunson ends up having a more like winning career? It wouldn't, because New York's got so much going for it, and Luka's just trying to figure out a way to make Dallas work. New York's done a lot of really smart things, and the East is easier than the West is. There's a real chance that this will be, I mean, this draft class was incredible. It's SGA as well. And Trey, we haven't even mentioned Trey. There's a chance this could be the second best card in this set, and I'll leave it at that. All right. We saw the LeBron of the Noir Logo Man recently sold for over 50 grand. This is the other giant card in the set. It's a 50 card, I believe. 50 card? I think that's right. Logo Man set that Noir made. It's the first time Noir has ever made Logo Man. It's a black acetate with gold foil. They're all numbered 1 out of 1. And Wemby here is just awesome. You can see it says, I can't make this big here, but it doesn't say that it's associated with a specific game or event. It says with any specific player, actually. Whereas the LeBron that sold had like a game on it. My guess is that shines through and that the Wemby isn't quite as, but it's his rookie is the thing. That, I mean, actually, let me take this back real quick here. Okay, let me actually focus here for a second. So Victor Wembanyama does not have NBA licensed autographs. So if you were to say, I want a Wemby giant huge card, what would I want? Well, you'd probably say you want the Prism Black rookie, which is probably over $1 million. Or the Prism Nebula, which might also be over $1 million, but certainly hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then you'd also say, what's his best Logo Man card? Well, to date, this is his best Logo Man card that I've seen. Because we haven't seen National Treasures. We haven't seen Flawless. Would I rather have this or a gold Prism rookie? The gold Prism is going to be far more iconic. This set's a really good-looking set, though. He's going to have more Logo Man cards. I think this is his first Logo Man card I've seen, though. I really like this card. I think aesthetically it's awesome. And I guarantee you in person, Noir in person is just the best. It's the most underrated brand of the era, for sure. I love it. I have multiple big Noir cards in my collection just because I love it so much. So it's one of the biggest Wemby cards in existence. And what's it at right now? It's a 17 grand. People are Wembied out a little bit. But are they Wembied out when it's the first real Logo Man? Or one of the first real Logo Men? That'll be an interesting one to watch. And then the card that audibly made me gasp. I can't believe this is at auction. This is the first time I've ever seen this card up for sale. Numbered to 5, extremely recent grade. We're almost hitting that 100 million mark here for PSA. Numbered 1 of 5. The nows and so I mean, you know this probably if you're watching this, but if you don't, nows plus futures equal 81 in basketball. So the now is numbered to 5, the future is numbered to 76. And for Dennis Rodman, if you were to say what is his best card in existence, you would say, well, he's got a few 1-of-1s in 97. He's got like the 97 Ultra Masterpiece, but everyone immediately recognizes the Ultra Masterpiece looks exactly like the Platinum that's out of 100. It's just numbered 1-of-1. Maybe has like a little bit of different foil or like but you don't even notice it. I actually don't know that the front is any different on that card. And then the other cards that you have a conversation about are like the other Ultra Masterpieces around that time. There's one from the next year that's in purple that is definitely on the list. There is, the Showcase 1-of-1s. But like the cards that aren't 1-of-1s, there's two cards in the conversation. There's the green PMG, and then there's this card. And that is the end of the list. That's everything. This is one of the best Dennis Rodman cards in existence. So why will this maybe not sell for what the green's going to sell for? I mean, it might, by the way. I don't know. The thing that has happened over time with this set that I think a lot of people are not in love with is we've seen a few of those uncut sheets surface. Now, Spinatron has bought all of them that have become available publicly, I believe. I don't think there's a single copy that he hasn't bought. But every time we see one surface now, everyone says, are we sure that's original? Or are we sure that somebody didn't get a sheet and number it perfectly just like it should have been numbered? And I don't know that. I'm just not smart enough on those things to be able to tell you that. What I do know is if we can believe that this is original, completely original and from the pack, it's got a case for being the best Dennis Rodman card in existence. 1-of-5 too. It's perfect. It's the image of Rodman, the colors, the foil, the different layers, even the base card on this card I've always loved. I've always wanted to get one of the pink and purple ones, but I've always gotten nervous about how to know like if it's totally original or not. I wonder if there's a story here. So it's hard to describe what I just did, like the out of 81 thing perfectly. They've done a good job of that here. It's cool that it's being listed at the same time as all the other Rodmans. I'd like to know that story and why they're all popping out at the same time. If there's like some massive Rodman collection that's all being liquidated, it sure seems like it, doesn't it? Because here's another one right here that we just never see. And check out that serial number. They were certainly graded together at the same time. Both 998. I actually had a raw copy of this card once. I sold it to Grant Slayton. It's the only one I've ever seen in person. It's going through a massive collection, and I told him that if I found this card specifically, I would sell it to him, and I did. And I gave him way too good a price on it. It is a card we've seen surface only a couple times through the years. It is not shocking to me to see it as high as it is. The thing you love about Rodman is he's just always flying around with these crazy kicks and stuff. Man, to see both of those in the same auction, again, probably from the same collection. I would really like to. I'd like to know where these came from. I'd like to talk to the guys over at Goldin. Wish I wasn't so busy this week. I'd love to make a reel on what the story is there for these. And last but not least, let's hit Card Hobby. We're going to hit it fast. Card Hobby, we're sorted from high to low. Carmelo MJ dual, Cade NT, Cade Flawless. The Kyrie Gold, that's the out of 25, where it's cut out like the serial number of the card. Dirk signed with the inscription that says MVP. I love Noir. I love this Kobe autograph. It's sitting at $4,000 right now. This duel with Ochai Agbaji and Christian Brown. James Harden NT RPA. The True Black of Keldon Johnson, his best card in existence. If you're high on Keldon Johnson, that is a card that you may never see again. It doesn't get better than that. This Kobe autograph out of Eternal. Some of these have really cool inscriptions. It looks like this one's just straight up signed. One of the neatest James Harden cards you're ever going to see is Flawless USA. I love this set. And Harden just does not have a lot of autographs. What is this Jokic? Oh, this is one of those black golds. I actually love that card. Let's give that one a good look too. And that's where we're going to stop because we're out of time. The Kobe is not inscribed. It's just the Eternal set. You can see it's numbered at 24 on the back. Still really cool though. Gotta always love those gold autographs. And then Jokic, every time I see one of these, I always sort of just stop and think about it for a bit because, so this is black gold. You can see the rookie symbol. You see the patch is giant. And this is one of those where Panini's like, let's take a big risk. Let's try something. Let's put this sort of like area over the autograph so that you're sort of signing over the fabric, but you're not signing the fabric itself. Well, I think in general, people didn't like this. And they didn't like it because it feels a little bit like a sticker autograph. It's not. It's like it's on the card, right? It's part of the card, right? I mean, that's what it looks like to me, that this is part of the black gold piece of it, but it's a lot going on. And so it hasn't had the same love for it as like the things like NT and Immaculate have. But like, it's such a huge piece of patch. Like, that is a huge piece of patch. It is really from his rookie year. I'm not familiar with his grading company at all. And that I don't think that's additive to the card personally. But, you know, as far as RPAs, Nikola Jokic goes, I don't think there's a bigger patch auto than this one. I don't think there is. And I love that they tried something. I love how rare it is. That might be like the sort of Jokic rookie that I end up landing on. That's like ultra rare, has really some unique principles to it, but isn't as well known. And it has some things about it that some people don't love. That's the sort of stuff that I love. I would hate to, if this card sells for say half or less of what an Immaculate sells for, I'd buy this first. Personally, what's it at? $2,100. I mean, it's got 5 days left. It's gonna sell for a ton of money, but to me, I love that card. All right, this episode went way too long, guys. I wish we could have been faster. This is the biggest week of auctions of like the last couple of months. I tried my best to go through everything as fast as I could. I know it went way too long, but as always, thank you guys for downloading. Please please subscribe. If you learn somebody or something, please tell somebody about it. I'd like for this show to be a place where we can just generally talk about like what's ending in like an open and honest way and talk about why it's as big as it is, or why it's cool, or why it's collected, why it's not collected, what the problems with the cards are. Just be like really honest, talking about all things about the auction. I'm enjoying it. I'm glad that so many of you are so far as well. It's been a blast. Again, please please subscribe, please share, please do all those things, because those things make a huge difference. So thank you guys. And until next time, happy collecting.